Hey everybody, what's going on? This isn't Silent Podcast. This is not a Silent Podcast stream, but it's going on the Silent Podcast channel. But what's up? It's Isaiah. I'm back with the Big Brother great mind Lovina here, and we're here to do another ranking stream. So the first time we came together, we did it twice. We ranked every Big Brother player ever from the US version that made every jury. We're crazy, so we're like, look, we need to do winners. You know what I'm saying? And Lovina, I made a picture like a couple months ago, and it kind of like got a lot of backlash, but I mean most of my tweets still. But I was like, you know what? My opinion has changed. So I was like, we need to do this. So Lovina, what's going on? How are you doing?
I just think it's funny how you say what did you say? I'm a great Big Brother mind. Like, I don't know about that. But I just say shit sometimes,
Yeah.
But anyways, which photo are you talking about, by the way? The one that we did?
No, I did a completely separate one, and I put my own.
See that.
Good. My opinions changed a little bit, but this would be a fun little stream, Lovina, I think.
Yeah, I think also for the one where we did everybody, we were not rushing because we split it in half, but we definitely would want to talk more about certain people. So I feel like this is the right amount of people to talk about because it's not that many.
No, it's not. And to add on to this, I mean, Lovina, what is our criteria for this?
So I think it's just going to be gameplay. It's not necessarily like, oh my God, I stand Rachel, which I do. I'm not going to rank her first, even though she is like at the top for me personally. It'll just be about gameplay, whether it's physical, strategic, social. Those are like the big three. There's other aspects to it. Just a reminder, because everybody needs this. This is our opinion. This is our opinion. No, but like, this is not real. Like, this is not important. So don't fucking yell at us. Don't get mad at us. It's just a stupid ranking that we're doing for fun because we're crazy. So
listen, everything here is facts. Don't listen. No, I'm playing.
Fake, actually.
But yeah, this is just like we don't know. Who knows at this point. So we're here. We're gonna rank them all based off of social prowess, strategic aspect, and their physicality with competition. I pulled up the Big Brother wiki as well, just to make sure I'm on my P's and Q's when it comes to some of these facts. But okay, so for those who are only audio only listeners, make sure you check out the YouTube. There's going to be a visual on there. We do have a tier list. If you see me scroll up a little much, I do have all the Canadian winners listed up here. We're not ranking them. We're only doing US. And on top of that, we are actually going to throw in Big Brother celebrity winners, as well as Morgan Willett from Big Brother Over the Top. So, I haven't ranked some of these people before, so it's going to be interesting,
I just wanted to say that if we were ranking Canada, it would be Kevin and Paris. Those are my two. And I would have to
rank number 1 and 2.
Yeah, but I would have to. I love you, Kevin, but I would have to rank Paris number 1 just because that's my sister. So
I'm a Kevin stan. I'm sorry.
Actually, let me give them tied for first. Because Kevin just like Kevin brought me so much joy. Like, he really did. I just love Kevin.
I also made a little section for Eddie McGee. He's the winner of Big Brother 1. I listen, there's been a thing recently because I'm doing a review series. Let me know. People are like,
I've been on it.
How can you not count season 1? That was it's not Big Brother. It's not the same. They had America voting about. It's not the same. I don't care. I know everyone's looking for something to complain about. Get out of here. But okay.
I'm kind of echoing, by the way.
Oh, you are?
Slightly.
Oh.
Oh, and it just stopped now. Why
does
How
it about now?
No. I'm good.
Okay, I think it's because I'm muted. I figured it out. I got it.
Oh, okay.
All right, but okay. So our first player, Lovina, that we're going to talk about is the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Will Kirby. So Dr. Will, obviously winner of Big Brother 2. He also played on Big Brother All Stars. Has never won a competition. He's been nominated. Let's see. I'm curious. His first season, he got nominated 4 times. His second season, he got nominated twice. How do you feel about Dr. Will, and where would you personally put him and why?
Wait, do we have A or S?
We have S,
S.
A, B, C, D, and F.
Okay. I mean, obviously S. Because I do. So, okay, let me just say this first. There's different eras of strategy on Big Brother, in my opinion. Or, well, I guess that, you can play it all types of strategies, but I feel like in the beginning of the show, it was masterful strategy, different ways that we can invent new strategies where it's like, the backdoor plan, how to use the vetoes and stuff like that. They're inventing new. Is the word meta the correct here? Like
I
the
think
right
so.
meta for the show? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be followed for years to come. That's like the first era of the show is just super strategy. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that era kind of fizzled out by I don't know. I don't know if it's 14's too late, but then there was that era of just okay, if you can freaking win these competitions and you're a physical beast and you get into these big alliances, that was kind of like the middle era. And I'm not saying current era anymore because of Taylor Hale. And I do think that now we're hopefully seeing a big social shift in the game. And I do think that we are. I think that winners like, I know we're not talking about Canada, but again, winners like Kevin and Taylor brought me so much joy from Big Brother in 2022 that I do think that we're seeing a shift, and I just have a lot of hope for it. So that's basically not to like get on a tangent, but that's kind of how I'm viewing it personally. And Isaiah, I think you could probably agree, right? That's
So
kind of
actually, so I'm not going to fight you on S with Dr. Will,
mm-hmm.
right?
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like there's only 2 places you could put Will, either S or A.
Mm-hmm.
I came to this huge revelation recently where I'm like, there's only one S tier winner, and to me that's Dan Gheesling.
Yeah,
But
I could see it.
I'm also fine with putting Will up there. I do think over time, like I finally come to some flaws with his game. I do think that in All Stars 2, oh my God, All Stars 1, I do
Yeah.
think he made a fatal error. I think they got a little too comfortable, and I think that him getting blindsided was avoidable. But with that being said, he completely ran that season. Let's be honest. I also think in his first season, his win was not that impressive. But with that being said, he's still such a mastermind with the game. He doesn't need to really win things to exude his power. I think his persona in All Stars was just like so non-serious that people just eventually stopped taking him seriously. I
Yeah.
think people just made huge asses of themselves to the point where he was able to hide in plain sight. And I do enjoy Will, so I'm going to put Will in S with you. But there is, if anyone is ever in the camp where it's like the only one person can be an S, it's Dan Gheesling. I'm not going to fight you. I actually think that that's fair, but I also like Will, so I'm down for Will with us. I also want to let people know me and Lovina are probably not going to agree on a lot of stuff that we do here, but
Yeah.
this list isn't even going to be in our perfect images. This is going to us combining our worlds. But
Yeah.
all right, so the next winner we have is Lisa Donahue. I'm glad this isn't in order. We can get to talk about them in weird orders, but the next is Lisa Donahue. Lisa, I didn't pull up her stats, but Lisa won Big Brother 3. While I'm pulling up stats, how do you feel about Lisa Lovina?
I think underrated because of the obvious, because it got overshadowed by, well, did Lisa win or did Danielle lose? And I
Yeah.
think there's a bit of both there. But I do think that, and again, I want to say I have just recently started I throw Big Brother seasons on like in the background while I work and do stuff. So my most recent one was Big Brother 3, and it's really hard because it's hard to see that season as anything but Danielle and Jason's. So I think that's what fogs us. But if you take everybody else out of the equation, which is exactly what we're doing, we're basing it off the winner's game and not just like, well, for example, when we get to Ian, well, Dan should have won. Well, no, let's look at Ian's game and what did he do correctly and what did he do to get himself there. So yeah, I do think that she voted on her showmance. She got rid of her showmance, and she like aligned herself with the correct people, and she put herself in a really good position to be taken there. And I'm gonna say Danny again, but like it's just hard to separate the two. But I do think that she has an underrated win. She's an underrated winner. So I think I would put her in B.
So just for anyone who's unaware, so she was nominated 2 times, and she also got 2 HOHs and 1 veto. I do agree with you. I think Lisa's win is kind of like clouded with Danielle Ray's, just like the legacy of her, because essentially she did come in not knowing much about the game, and then just kind of got taught, and then she kind of just like picked it up as time's gone by. I know you just said we do want to talk about their win. One point I do want to make, I think Danielle letting go of the key at Final 3 is such a fatal error that we do not talk about enough as Big Brother fans. But I mean, obviously that's another podcast when we talk about like best to never win or something. But Lisa, I think she had a really good social game. I think people really enjoyed being around her. I think that that's honestly, do I want to call her a really good strategist? Because I think that her connection with Danielle kind of helped her advance in the game, but fine. I think that she's an okay strategist. I think she picked it up later on in the game. I think that her social prowess is her strongest thing. And I was actually interested to see how she would do in All Stars. I'm kind of sad that she didn't get in it. But I do like Danielle. I do want to put her in B as well. I feel like that's not, I think C is middle of the road. I think she's like above average, right? I think C is like average, and I think that she's like right there. And there's a couple other people I can see being in that area, but I do agree with you. We do have similar mindset right there.
Okay. Yeah, and I also just wanted to say like every single person who has won deserved to win. And I think that there's a lot of discourse right now on the internet about another show that I don't enjoy, but whatever. Everybody who wins deserves to win. Even Josh. So I think that we should just like put that out there.
That's facts.
Here.
Well, I mean, Big Brother Canada, Gary got robbed, but whatever. Anyway, I agree.
That's special. That's like an asterisk.
Yeah. All right. So next winner is Big Brother 4's winner, June. June, she was nominated 3 times, 1 veto, 1 HOH. I really like June. I think June is one of the better female winners. I think June was really good strategically, basically with her connections with her ex, obviously eventually creating her little duo with my God, Allison. I don't know why I couldn't remember her name for a second. And I think June is aware of what June needs to do when the time is right. My thing with June, I feel like June had a very specific pathway to her win, right? Where I feel like there are other winners that I feel like they had options. There's multiple revenues and pathways for them to get to the win. But I do think that June is understanding when it's time to pivot. I think that she played the floater game very correctly. I'm just curious, if she were to return, how likely is it that she can replicate what she just did in the season? Because it's also rare to find another person like an Allison who's willing to basically say, F it, let's just go. I'm going to work with my enemy and just get these people out of here. That's not a regular commodity. So, obviously good for both of them. But I don't know, how do you feel about them? I also want to say, if I were to put June in here, I would put June in the A tier. But how do you feel, Lovina?
Yeah, I'm putting her in the A tier, and I'm trying to remain as unbiased as possible because she's like in my top 3 to 4 winners.
Yeah.
Sorry, top say top 5. And I think I would definitely put her in A as well because again, like I said in the beginning, in different eras, there's people that create the strategy. Um, I get that it's because okay, well, yeah, Lovina, it was season 4. No shit, someone has to do it. But like,
Yeah.
I just think that she did it so masterfully. The only thing that I have with her game is, and listen, I understand that season 4 kind of was a mess. Like the cast was a mess. Like we have to really think about that. And I mean, I can't really think of a massively like super likable person on it. I just feel like she wasn't incredible socially. Like if
Yeah.
she would rub people kind of the wrong way, and
Yeah.
it just kind of at the end of the game, I remember some people were saying, "Well, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils between her and Allison." So her and Allison had similar games in all aspects, socially and strategically. But when it comes to the strategic part, I just think that it's masterful. And I think if I were to go on the show, I would want to do the same thing. Like the same kind of floater strategy. And also let's keep in mind that the word floater doesn't mean what people think it means right now. It means it's a good thing, it's positive,
Yeah.
and you float to the power structures
Yeah.
as they move throughout the game. You're adaptable. That's another thing too, is like June was very adaptable, and she went to wherever the power was. So I think that she's a top strategic player in the game if we're just grading it, which we are, upon gameplay. And so she is top tier for strategy.
All right. So we're gonna put June in A. One thing I do want to look at, it's like if I were to put this player in like 100 seasons, how many would they win? So that's also
None of
another
them would
thing.
win. Again,
Well,
none of
some of them would. I do think some of them would. I do think some of them would.
them.
There are some people in this list, but that's also very contrast because there's some bad players who I feel like would win again. So that's why I'm not basing it completely on that. But okay. So next is Drew Daniel. He is the winner of Big Brother 5. Let me get Drew status. I need to remember to put them up. But Drew, okay, so Drew was HOH 4 times. He was nominated 1 time. He also has 1 veto win. Was a part of the Four Horsemen Alliance. Was a part of a showmates with Diane. How do you feel about Drew, Lovina?
So I'll be honest and say that I don't. Like I don't feel, and it's because this isn't a part of my ranking. I just don't love season 5. I just
Yeah.
there's like there's nothing really wrong with the season. I just didn't personally enjoy it. So I've only seen it once. Like I've only watched it through once, and I wasn't living for it. I wasn't living for the characters. The only person I really liked was Marvin. That was his name, right? Marvin?
Yes.
I think so. Unless I'm confusing him with somebody else.
No,
Marvin, right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay, yeah. I was like, wait, is there another person named Marvin? Anyways, yeah, so except for him, the creation of the backdoor plan, the 5-finger plan, I wasn't a big fan of it. So I'm gonna let you take the reins on the rating because I just have nothing to say.
You're good. I think Drill is the first version of a line of players that we see a lot in modern day. Oh my God, it's almost called Survivor, Big Brother, right? And I think good looking, charming, neutral, stays in the middle, doesn't really bother people, right? People I can think of in this archetype, I can think of Hayden, I can think of Cody, I can think of Kaycee, I think of a lot of people like that. Good at competitions, nice to people, stays out the way. One thing that I'll give Drew, because not only did he pivot once the 4 horsemen kind of like crash and burn, one thing I do want to give Drew credit for that not a lot of people have the balls to do, cut his showmates who would have probably beat him in the end. I think that was very 4D chess. Not a lot of people have the balls to do that, and he did it. So I personally think that Drew is a pretty good winner. I think he's a forgotten winner that not a lot of people talk about. If it was me, I'm going to put him middle in the road. I do want to put him in C. I do think he is a good version of his archetype, but I do think that there are better versions. I do want to say
Yeah.
that. And we're going to get to them, but he is one of the few winners that not a lot of these winners are willing to do, and like they don't have the killer instinct to cut the person when they need to cut them. Kaycee, I'm looking at you. So it's like
Yeah.
good for him. But yeah, we'll put him in C.
Yeah. I like the Kaycee comparison. I didn't think of it that way. So yeah, I agree with C.
Yeah. Okay, so next player we have is Maggie from Big Brother 6. Maggie obviously was a part of the infamous friendship alliance that everyone loves. She has her one HOH, she does have her one veto, and she has been nominated 4 times. So here's a conversation about Maggie. I feel like obviously as time has passed, I think Maggie has gotten her flowers and a lot of respect in the Big Brother community, and I think for the longest, I will put her. I want to let you know, I don't know where I'm putting her right now. There's a lot of people I don't know where I want to put them. But initial gut reaction, I will put her A. I think that she's very good strategically to the point where I think that she knows the optimal move to make, to the point where, yeah, she created the friendship alliance, which was like a cult of Cappy at a point. I think Maggie was really smart with the point of if anyone goes against the friendship, that person's losing, which kind of trapped like a vet to be forced to take her to the end. I think that Maggie was really smart with basically tricking Howie into making a move that was not in his best interest, and also kind of deceived James a little bit when he was kind of vulnerable. So I think Maggie is really good with making the optimal move when it's needed. She kind of reminds me of Vanessa a little bit, like a cold player. You're going to make the move that you need to make. Maggie is really bad socially, though. I think Maggie's social game is really bad. I think that she's good with the people who she's good with, but if she's not good with you, you are not going to be working with her. So it's like, one competition goes wrong, I think her game is completely screwed over, so I do like Maggie, though. My initial reaction, I do want to put her in A. I could also put her in B. I'm not going to lie. But how do you feel?
We're not ranking them in order in the tiers, but if we were, I would say low A, low to
We can do
mid
it in
A.
order. I'm down with order.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, obviously put her behind June for now.
Yeah.
And we can move her whenever we want. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say so. I think that as of recently, up until recently, that is, I think she was an underrated winner, kind of similar to Lisa, just because based off of people didn't love her alliance. I don't think that she was the biggest the biggest issue of the alliance at the time, but still I do think that she is still, if I'm thinking about strategic, about physical, and by physical, by the way, physical means something different in the early old school Big Brother, because I feel like there was a lot more questions, competitions, quiz questions. So let me just say competitiveness, and the social game aspects of it. I think that she obviously excels in the strategic. She really didn't care who she was deceiving. I understand that, the house was split in half, but she still, in my opinion, I think that if she saw a better route to take with someone like Janelle versus Yvette or April, I think she would have taken it, because she, a lot of people in the friendship, it was so like friendship or nothing. And I do think that Maggie was the one who would have cut somebody if she needed to, but she didn't need to, because she knew that she was just going to win. I don't know if she would have won against Janelle. I don't think she would have. Yeah, I don't think she would have, but I do think that she's a strategic force. I agree with the social parts of it, but it's also because we have to remember that the house is split in half and people are running their mouth and saying things like, Maggie, you're such a bitch, when they're drinking alcohol. So, I mean, I think that Maggie, going back to your question of would somebody do well, I do think that she has obviously she would never come back, but if she did come back, she, I think, would have a good opportunity to fly under the radar, and lay low for a while and then pull strings towards the end. So yeah, I think A is good. I like Maggie as a player, even though obviously Kaycee, Janelle, the whole that's my gig. But yeah.
I'm dead. Let's look at some of the chat comments real quick. We have Joseph Boza saying Dr. Will is one of the best winners ever. We have Zunaman saying, yes, after recently learning about June and her Allison's game, I have so much respect for them in terms of floaters. We also have Jade saying, I'm waiting on Rachel's replacement. So, don't we all? But okay.
I mean,
So
S. If you ask me,
okay.
S.
Okay, so our next one is Mike Boogie. Like I said, we're basing it on their winning game. We're not talking about outside stuff. Mike is a bad person. I get it. We're going to talk about his experiences in the season.
Jail.
So I'm not gonna lie. Before the antics, Mike was one of my favorite winners. I must say, I was just a Chilltown fan in general. I really liked how deceptive and cocky they were. I thought it was funny, but non-bias. So first of all, stats wise, he's played 3 seasons. His winning season now, he won 3 HOHs. He was nom 2 times, won 1 veto. So, he was part of Chilltown in the Legion of Doom, which was pretty cool. He also had a little side truce with like season 6. I think Mike Boogie gets a lot of hate. That's unwarranted, personally. I think Mike Boogie, everyone has a perception that Mike Boogie was dragged to the end. He didn't do anything to deserve his win. First of all, complete crap, because I think Mike Boogie was a good, he did pull his weight when it came to Chilltown. I think that he was the deal maker in terms of, look, I'm going to do all the talking and then Will's going to do the execution, right? Mike was the one out of the 2 of them that was actively having these conversations with these other people, like season 6, like Danielle and Jason, where, and to be honest, Operation Double Date, where he kind of formed and started the conversations for these alliances and these groups. And then, Will, with his charisma, kind of was like the glue to that. And then people would be like wooed into to these deals and stuff. He also was the person out of the duo winning competitions, which Will obviously did not want to do. And even though I think his fatal flaw was he was going to take Will to the end of the game, which obviously, not good, because you would have lost to Will and Janelle. Once, he was dealt a certain hand, he got his head in the game and was like, all right, these 2 girls are not going to take each other to the end. They got to take me. And he threw the competition, which was wild. I don't know many people who are willing to do that, but he threw it publicly and they fell for that, and then he completely destroyed Erica, who destroyed Janelle. So I think Mike really does not get a lot of respect. And even if we're going to bring up his non-winning seasons, Big Brother 14, he was completely crushing Dan and Brittany and Janelle as a coach. And had it not been for the button twist, which everyone forgets about for some reason, he was killing it. He had Frank, he had Ian, the smart, and then he also had my God, Jen City.
It was Jen, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk too much about that. But yeah, I do think Mike doesn't get the respect that he's due. I do feel the same way about Cody when we get to him a little bit. Not too much, but I do think Mike Boogie he gets a bad rap in my opinion. But if I were to rank Mike, I can see C or B. I'm really unsure because there's so many more winners I want to rank. So as of right now, I will say low B. That could be subjected to drop to high C. But how do you feel?
Actually, I don't think that he was dragged to the end for his winning season. I think that he was the more proactive player in that season. As we said for Dr. Will, obviously he was running that shit on season 7, but I do still think that Mike Boogie was the one doing everything socially. Like, that's, again, we're talking about the different aspects of the game. And I think that his social game was on point. His strategic game was on point during that season. And he did deserve his win, even though we might not really like him. And I personally think he's an idiot. And I thought that even before all of the legal stuff, I was like, this guy's like, why is this guy acting like this white man? Like, I'm sorry, but like, why does he? Anyways, besides that point, I do think that he is, again, a really good strategic player. And he was the one who was flat out lying. How many times is Howie going to get duped in a season? You know what I'm saying? Like last time it was Maggie, this time it's Mike Boogie, the two winners of the seasons that we're talking about, which is kind of funny. But yeah, and I do think that for 14, he was really set up well, even though I did see some rumor that he had seen the player profiles before coming in. And so he already knew he wanted Frank and Ian based off the profiles. I don't know how true that is, but regardless, he was still set up really, really well. And if it wasn't for the button, I think he could have been in the final three for sure, like locked. I don't, and let's say, honestly, yeah. I'm like fighting with myself. I would say B. Yeah. I'm fighting with myself.
Good. And listen, there's a huge possibility he gets dropped, but for now, I feel really good about it. Is he over Lisa? That's the real question. I don't know.
Let me not see. The thing is like when I'm saying fighting with myself, the impact of it, because oh my God, like I want to rank Janelle over like half these people because of impact. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Yeah, I think he should stay where he is.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. All right, so our next person is Evil Dick.
Can I start this one because I do want to say something about this? So
Go for it.
I like a lot of the people on this season. And this season feels like it has really good rewatch. It's not very like rewatchable. I don't know if that's a word. For me personally, I've seen it like probably like 3 times. And I'll say that he's a disappointing winner. And we have to take into account for this particular season, it's not like basically like any of the others where the way that he was set up to win was a setup to win, like literally the pure definition of the word. I'm not saying it was rigged, but if there wasn't America's player, then he would have been gone. Like he would have been like pre-jury, maybe like first juror, and I just think that you have to take that into account when you look at someone's gameplay. Yeah, sure, he's I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Like, you can't really call that a good social game. You can't, because everyone freaking hated his ass. Like, he was extremely disrespectful to the women in the house. He was just rude. So that's just off the table. The competitive aspect of it, okay, sure, I guess. Like, sometimes he would get the wins when he needed them. I think that the final 3 HOH where I think they were holding the key as well. I think that was pretty clutch. I thought, he was really not wanting to let go of that. So I think that's impressive. Strategic, it's all right, I guess. I think it's very mid-tier. So then it's just like, well, where does this leave us? Like, how do we rank him? Yeah. And for me personally, it's D, because as gameplay, he's not good. And it's because he was set up by America's player to win. That's just how I think.
You took all the words out of my mouth. Yeah, I think, I don't even need to bring up stats. I'm going to be honest with you. I think, Dick would have been voted out a long time ago if it was not for America's player twist. And with that being said, that's out of his control. I don't blame him. Even with the game that he played without any outside factors, his social game is probably one of the worst out of all the winners because, he does throw insults, talk crazy to people. I do think we got a little preview of what he was capable of when he was there for like a week in Big Brother 13. But even with that, like we never really got to see Dick's true colors when someone gives him some adversity in Big Brother 13. So I don't really, I know a lot of people love bringing that up, but I don't, because it's like we didn't see him as, as a full player there. So when we did see him face adversity, handled it very poorly, got very emotional, when people were like, for example, in his HOH room thinking that they were talking game when they really weren't. In any other season, this guy is like such a pre-jury boot. Essentially this season, he would have been a pre-jury boot. I do think Dick has a semi-good strategic mind. I will say that. I think he has good ideas. He just has horrible execution. Social game horrific. His comp game is not that bad. I know I didn't bring up stats, but, he does have 3 HOH wins this season. He does have a veto win. He's not bad at comps at all. And like I said, he has some strategic aspect, but you know, it just doesn't matter. I think that 9 times out of 10, if he comes back for most of these seasons, he does very poorly. So I do want to put Dick in D. Very helped by a production twist. He's one of 2 players that have won, in my opinion, that was greatly helped because of production. You guys might not be happy with a second one, but we'll get there when we get there. But yes.
Another thing I wanted to say about Dick was that he lost votes in the jury. Like he didn't get every single. I'm not saying like, oh, if you're a good winner, only if you are unanimous. I'm not saying that, but he lost votes specifically because of a very poor social game. Why would Jen Johnson vote for you to win after all of that? Why would Jamaica vote for you to win? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. So there you go. But yes, you know, I don't necessarily even think this is like a low D. I think this is a high D, if anything. But there you go. All right.
There's worse.
There's worse. So next we have Adam Jasinski, Big Brother 9. You know, he has 2 HOHs. He has 1 veto. He was nominated 3 times. So, you know, I think Adam, you know, like I said, we're not talking about outside stuff. I don't care that he was arrested and all that stuff. Adam, in my opinion, played correctly with the cast that he was given, right? I think he's a product of, just like Josh. By the way, he's way better than Josh. But just like Josh, you're a product of your season. You're with a very cracked cast, and I think that he played his cracked cast correctly. I think Adam really shined towards the end half of the game. You know, he made his deal with what's the other guy's name? Ryan. Him and Ryan made a duo. They completely ran. They were calling all the shots. I feel like, you know, he knew when to work with specific people and who he needed to take with him to the end to really win. My problem with Adam, I think that his personality and his social game is not the best, to the point where I feel like he had a lot of people on edge, and a lot of people wanted to take him out very early, you know, and there's also just like his demeanor. It's just like there's something about Adam that people are like, oh, this guy's a little sketchy. I don't know if I want to work
discomfort, with him. I would say. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. But like, you know, he's not a bad winner. And I think people like to call him the worst winner, or at least at the time, people call him the worst winner because he was in Big Brother 9. And I think that's farther from the truth. If it were me, I would put Adam in C, low C personally. I mean, there's an argument to be above Drew, if I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put him low C. But how do you feel?
Yeah, honestly, I think the problem with him is his season. People see his season and they're like, okay, this is not a real season. Like, this is just ridiculous. And it's true. We can sit here and talk about the problems with Big Brother 9. It's, why is it in the winter? I don't like that. That's weird. Why are you pairing up strangers? Hate that. Don't love that. And why was everyone on the cast a horrible person? I don't like that either, you know? But that's not what we're talking about here. If we were talking about that, I would probably put him in like D or F. Like, let's be completely honest. Also, I have to say this. What is the diversity on that season? There was zero diversity. They said, Parker, you're in. All right, he's out. Okay, we're good. Like, it's literally all the same person. That when you were like, who was the guy that he was sitting next to? Ryan, whatever. And I was like, dude, I don't know. It was all the same guy. Like, it was literally all the same guy on that season. But yeah, I do think that, you know, he, I like to use this word, but it's just true. Like, if you are not adaptable in Big Brother, you will not go anywhere. Like, unless it's a season like, I mean, like, even in a season like Big Brother OTT, where it's so obviously split, or, you know, Big Brother 6, you need to be adaptable. You need to float a little bit. You know, this is why I love June so much. I just think that she perfected that. You have to be adaptable, and I do think that he was. Again, that's another one of the seasons where I've only watched it through once because I just hated what I saw when I saw, I'm sorry, I'm going to complain. When I saw that guy in the backyard say that thing to that girl about her father.
You're talking about, yeah.
I was like,
that was wild. To Amanda, yeah, that was wild.
I'm not gonna watch this for a few days. Yeah. And then I put it back on in the background because it was just so, I couldn't move past that, on top of other things. But yeah, I think, like you said, C. Now it's like, where do we put him above Drew? Like, what do we do?
I'm gonna put him behind Drew for now. That could move depending on more people that we add, but I do want to put him behind Drew for now.
Okay. I'm with
But
that.
I could see myself moving him up there. I will say, minus, there's obviously some bad stuff in Big Brother 9, but I think this season gets a bad rap. Like, it's so dramatic. Like, it reminds me of old school reality television, like
Yeah. It's
crazy. Like,
entertaining.
there's
It's
so
entertaining.
much fight.
But
If you
that
ever
one
watch it,
thing, but that
yeah, it's
one
bad.
thing, I was
Yeah, it's
like,
bad.
that's not entertaining. It's kind of
Bringing up her dead dad, that was crazy. It was crazy.
like that. It was like
Um,
similar to like how in the beginning of
yeah,
Big Brother 24, we'll get to it, but in the beginning of Big Brother 24, we were like, oh my God, everyone's like talking shit about each other. This is entertaining.
yeah,
But then it started getting ugly, and I was like, oh
really
wait,
ugly.
no, 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 not that, not that. It's kind of like that.
Okay. So, I mean, no brainer. I mean, we have Dan Gheesling.
My S tier,
Dan,
number one.
yeah. Oh, so he's above Will for you too?
Yeah,
All right, cool.
easy.
There's not a lot that we need to talk about here.
No.
I think Dan's 2 seasons are drastically different. I think his first season he played a lot more passively, but at the same time, hiding in plain sight, and I think he played it very calculated and smart. Where obviously the second time he was like the villain bad guy, and obviously he did not win that season. I know, masterful game, deserved to win in my opinion, but he's also he pissed a lot of people off. So possibly one of the worst jury and management performances ever in Big Brother history, but it does not matter. We're talking about his winning game. It's crazy. Even Dan's worst is probably one of the best, which is wild. But yeah, Dan, there's not a lot to talk about here. Nomination roulette was crazy. I think Dan's alliance with Memphis, the Renegades, was awesome. The fact that they dragged Jerry to the end, who completely hated him, was very smart because there was no way in hell Jerry was winning anything against him in Memphis. The blind side on Ollie. One of the best things ever. Like, I love it so much. I don't know why the hell Ali thought that was authentic, that you would control my HOH. What the hell is wrong with you? But like, there's, like I said, there's not a lot to talk about here. Dan's number one in my book. But go ahead, Lovina.
Yeah, there's really not much to say. I don't like it when people are like, well, there's a debate, there's really I don't know who it could be. Could be Derek, which don't get me started. Like, yeah, it could be Derek or it could be Dr. Will. No, it's not. It's just not. And I understand that he could have done things a lot better, especially socially in 14. But I just think that the strategy is so like what's the word? Just like so far above. Like it's in like outer space. Like it surpasses literally every single person on here, and it will continue to do so as the seasons go on, as we get more seasons. I don't think anybody will ever match up to that. And I think a big part of it too is that, let's talk about the eras. I know we got to talk about it. And I saw that he actually himself tweeted after Tyler lost to Kaycee. He said that the Machiavellian type of gameplay is really officially dead now. And that's another reason why I don't think we'll ever see somebody like Dan. And we can talk about his competition wins. I think he's competent in competitions and physical gameplay. And then obviously it's just like, and the social game's good too, because I remember I was listening to somebody, it might've been Taryn's podcast, when he was talking about how, the way that I talk to people on the show, I think he said it is real life too, but obviously he turned it on in the show, was I ask people questions about themselves. Because people want to talk about themselves. It's just human nature. And I would never talk about myself. I would just always continue to ask them questions, make them feel comfortable. And that's an impeccable social game to me. Like that. I feel like nobody has really perfected that. Maybe Tyler had little glimpses here and there when the way that he would talk to people, but definitely like nothing like we've ever seen with, and are probably going to see with someone like Dan. I don't have to say anything more.
Yeah. I do love the detail you brought up, where he would bring up like where people are from, the family members, their work, like I remember when he was like giving everyone speeches and he would like point out details about their life. It was just great guy, great player.
I love his little Twitch channel too. It's so cute.
Yeah.
I like just like how he stays in his lane. He's like, hey, go Taylor, like one time, and that was it. I love Dan.
Yeah. Also, oh, that's a good question. Where are whoever made this? Misha is here. I don't see Tamar. Did I put Tamar? Ugh. There you go.
What the hell?
There you go.
Oh my gosh, she
Sorry
looks
about
so
that.
pretty.
Right. I can't forget Tamar Braxton. There you go. But there you go. Sorry about that. Anyway, but yeah, they're here. Misha, Marissa, and Tamar are all here. All right. So next we have Jordan Lloyd, winner of Big Brother 11. Jordan did win 2 HOHs, 1 veto, nominated 4 times. So here's the thing about Jordan Lloyd. First of all, unfortunately, I'm not going to be ranking Jordan very high. I don't think she has the chops when it comes to Big Brother, but she did make it far both of her times. I think her first win was more of a hate against Natalie than a vote for Jordan. I'm going to be honest. But I think Jordan unintentionally, like not on purpose, has one of the best social games in Big Brother history just because she's just generally a nice person to people. And I think people like being around her. I think they like living with her to the point where they don't vote her out. I don't think Jordan is the best strategically. I think she's a great piece to put in an alliance because, she'll be loyal to the soil. I think that she's naturally always going to make it far, just like we saw in Big Brother 13 until she, to be honest, kind of like gave up her spot sort of to help Rachel out. I think Jordan will naturally always make it far in the Big Brother season. That's how I feel. But with that being said, I don't think she has the chops or what it takes to cut people when they need to be cut. I think she's also very emotional as a player. You can have a 101 aspect of Big Brother and then be super low at everything. It's a big blind spot. So I do think that if I were to rank Jordan, I'm conflicted between D and F because I do think that she is a really good social player. I'm not gonna lie. I'm almost willing to put her over Dick. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know. I don't know. I could put her under Dick. She's D regardless for me. I don't know where specifically though. But how did you feel?
Um, Jordan's like just not a good winner. I
No.
just, she seems like a great I'm sure. I mean, I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. But I do think that, like I said for Dan, his strategic element of his game, like you said, like like let's say there's like a percentage. His strategic percentage is like 500%. It's up there. So that like tanks his overall average, like or not tank. It transcends his overall
Yeah.
average all the way up here. So with someone like Jordan, yeah, the socials like okay, but I wouldn't honestly, I disagree with it being really good.
Okay.
I would say it's fine.
No, I
I
agree. I
guess,
agree.
yeah. Like everything else, like if I were to say strategic, it's 0. Like
Yeah.
I try, like, I always want to root for the girlies, but like it's hard when the strategy is 0. The competition's like, I think she's like capable, kind of. I don't really remember how many. I forgot what you said that she had won, but yeah, I think the social could be like, if I were to put it at a percentage, like a good, like I'd give her like a 40-50%, which is still an
Okay.
F. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know where to put her. I would definitely not put her over Dick. Honestly, I just wouldn't, because even though
Yeah,
Dick,
I had to think about when I was saying, I'm like, no. Yeah, I agree with that.
because Dick, while yes, he like his win felt very manufactured, there was still some glimpses of, okay, well, he saved
Yeah.
him and Danielle's asses. He did this.
Yeah.
He did, he could have done this, but he did this. And there's certain competitions where I thought he excelled in, and but I just don't think that she should go
I
over
agree.
him.
I agree. I agree.
Hmm.
Do we put her in low D or do we put her in F though, man? Like, I don't know. Because
Because
I don't
another
think
thing,
her win was really for her though. I don't. I really don't.
because like another problem too is like, okay, well, who are we putting in F? Are we putting anyone in F?
Uh, got a point. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna put Jordan F. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. That feels right.
Hmm.
Um,
And it
yeah,
sucks
that feels
because I
right.
don't want to see one of the girls in F, but it's
It
just,
is what it is, man. It is what
yeah.
well, there you go. Okay. So next we got Hayden from Big Brother 12. Hayden was a part of the infamous Brigade Alliance. at the time, the best Big Brother alliance of all time. Not anymore. But Hayden, let's look at his stats. He won HOH 4 times. He won veto 1 time, and he was nominated twice. Hayden is part of the club that I mentioned a little bit with Drew Daniels. You're the I don't know what to call it. I think that there's a perfect Big Brother player, and that's the model. I think the model is just like nice built guy that everyone enjoys being good at being around, good at competitions, nice with everyone. That's the model Big Brother player in my opinion. And I think Hayden isn't the best version of it, but I think Hayden is a very competent player. I think his obsession with his whole showmates almost put his game in jeopardy at some point. But Kristen, but I think since he was surrounded by around a lot of other good players, like I think Matt, Lane and Enzo, him having his people kind of like whipped him into shape. We kind of saw this with the cookout a little bit, but not to the same extent. But it's like he was in the position that he needed to be in. Once the brigade was formed, I think that the strategy that they had was done very well. I can't say perfectly because obviously Matt was a slip up and they completely messed up. But I think Hayden specific. It's hard to talk about just Hayden because his game is really surrounded with the brigade. I can't just talk about just Hayden. It's annoying. But Hayden as a player, I think he's fine. I mean, I know. I do hate the fact that a lot of people bring up his Survivor performance because this is not the same show. So I'm not going to even bring that up. But I think Hayden as a player, he's good. I think he's fine strategically. I think he's fine socially. I think he's fine physically. Like he's just literally middle of the road in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I think he's fine. I do feel like he's a little bit overrated though. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I'm struggling here. I can either put him low B or high C, but I feel like I don't know. Like he was also looked at as like kind of like the leader of the brigade a little bit because it's like I think Matt could have had that spot and then he started going cuckoo and kind of jumped ship. So I might put him low B, but I'm still debating. My opinion's subjective to change. How do you feel, Lovina?
Yeah, I would say low B because I do think that when the brigade was formed, they were formed based on what each person brings to the alliance. And so it has like an impeccable social game. And then we have Matt, who was the strategic mind. And then I think they called Hayden and Lane like the muscle or whatever, which perfectly shows what you're trying to explain. Like, okay, cool, this Big Brother winner that we've seen, like, or we will be seeing like 10 more times from this season on. That's an exaggeration, but you get me.
Yeah.
So it's like, where does Hayden fall in that? And then that's when we get to the whole, well, we're talking about the brigade as an alliance, and it's hard for us to not talk about them as a 3-person unit. But we have to because that's what we're doing. Like we're not like we were like, okay, well, we can't rank, we can't rank why am I forgetting her name? Season 3 winner. What happened?
Freaking Lisa.
Sorry, I was gonna say Amy. Season 3 winner. Lisa, we're not gonna rank her based off of Danny, and we're not gonna do this, but like so it's kind of like, well, where does that put Hayden? So I do think low B is good because, he was competitive. I do think he obviously had strategic chops. I think he was in all 3 categories, social, competitiveness / physical, and strategic, he's decent. So I think that puts him kind of average, and I would slightly put him above average, so like low B.
Will we put him over Boogie or no?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to personally say no because his strategy was better.
I agree with that. Okay. Next we have Rachel Reilly. This was my first Big Brother winner. I love Rachel. Listen, so Rachel's one of my favorite winners. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna even be biased, but Rachel is not the best Big Brother player. I think I do think so. Let me check her stats first. Rachel in her winning season won HOH 4 times, 2 vetoes, and was nominated 5 times. I think here's my thing. So Rachel's good at competitions. I think Rachel is not the best strategist. I think she's very emotional.
Uh-huh.
And my issue with Rachel, outside of being emotional, I think she rubs people the wrong way a lot. And I mean, like I said with Hayden, I'm not going to put too much stock in their other shows, but we kind of saw this in The Amazing Race as well. I think Rachel does not how to keep her mouth shut. She pisses people off. She talks shit to people. On any show she's been on, she's done this. And I think she's just such an emotional player. I think production, this is the second person I was talking about earlier, helped her a lot this season, especially with the whole Pandora's Box fiasco. And I think I don't know. I think Jordan actually also put herself in the crossfire to help Rachel progress in the game. I just think Rachel is a heavily emotional player. Iconic, yes, I love Rachel. Best DR, some of the best DRs ever. Oh my god, how do I not put Rachel in my top 4 for DRs? I gotta reevaluate that. But I love Rachel. She's awesome, but she is not a good Big Brother player. I'm gonna be honest with you. Probably one of the most emotional players to ever play this game. Honestly, I'm shocked she won a season. I was so happy when she won, but my God, like she's not good. That's if it's me, I might even debate putting her in F. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if that's a hot take. She could be D, but she's not a good player in my opinion. I'm a fan, but she's not good. But how do you feel?
Wow, I'm not letting you do that. First of all, I'm not letting you do that. So I think that one thing I really like about her is that I can definitely see that. Yes, we know she's production favorite. I think we can all see that. Obviously, they brought Alyssa. Like, why would they do that if they didn't really like Rachel to bring her like basically identical twin to another season? But I do think that the one thing I really, really admire about Rachel, like on a serious level, is that she was a fighter. Yes, you can say, well, production helped her with Pandora's Box and like all this stuff, but she was still winning these competitions. Like, I will give credit where it's due. Like, yeah, like someone like we're gonna get to Kaycee. I'm like, well, Big Brother's way more about than boring competition wins and then nothing else. But I did give Kaycee her flowers. Like, she kicked ass. Like, she set records. And I think that Rachel is a similar thing. I like that she, a lot of her talking points during her final plea to the jury was like, when Brendan left, it's like, yeah, some people will be like, okay, great. Is that like the only thing that you can talk about? But I think that there is something there. I do think that she was the biggest target walking in because of her loud personality. She could have easily been the first boot. And I think that she freaking won. She did it. She freaking won. She did it. So I cannot put her in F. I think she did far more than Jordan could ever
Oh,
even
that's
want.
fine.
Uh,
What's so different from? So you know how production helped Dick, right? How
mhm.
about what's so different with production helping Rachel?
I mean, so examples like there was a whole ass player that was not a normal player, that he was throughout the entire season couldn't make a decision of his own, whereas the whole time he was wanting to backstab Dick and Danielle. And
Okay.
in America was voting on multiple things. First of all, who do I vote out? Who do I vote to win? Who do I try to get the HOH to target? It wasn't even like, okay, well, Eric won HOH. Who should he target? Oh, actually, no, Jessica won HOH. Who should Eric try to get Jessica to target? And it was just like, so, and they can do that by like obviously editing the crap out of the Donatos and like, well, this is like this incredible story, and like put these like really emotional DRs of Dick crying, and like with the music, it changes a lot. It changes a lot of people's opinions about things. I will die on that sword.
Okay.
So that kind of thing. But like Rachel, yeah, I can see like the Pandora's Box situation, but she still had to claw her way out of.
She
She was
was
that
ready to
target.
give up a lot too. That's only like I'm just like Jordan basically was like, "Look, I'll go instead of you. It's okay." So I
I
mean,
mean,
but she is really good at comp. That's the only thing that's stopping her from like being super low. So all
mhm.
right, let's level this out. If you were to put her somewhere, where are you putting her?
I mean, like, I would want to put her in C, but I know you won't.
I would put her top D personally.
Okay, fine.
All right, that can be our middle ground. How about that?
Just know that I disagree.
That's fine. Listen, we do not need to agree. Listen, I'm looking in the chat right now. Blackman says put her in D. Joseph Boza says low C. Zuda says low C. Listen, we have a little bit of everything, Lovina. So I think this is right. I feel right about this. I feel that, and hey, look, the more people we put on here, that could change as well. She could move up. There's still a bunch of other winners down here, not the best, to be honest, that could change a lot of things. So, we're going to get there. But for now, this is how I'm feeling, Okay, let's move on. We have Ian Terry. This, in my opinion, is the last winner of the second era of Big Brother. This is the last winner of the second era, in my opinion. Ian Terry, love the guy. Great guy. Cop beast, to be honest. He won 4 HOHs and 2 vetoes. I think Ian Terry basically spearheaded an archetype in Big Brother that did not exist till him, which is the nerd archetype. I think him and John Cochran actually won around the same time, which is very interesting. But I don't know, like, he's such a peculiar winner, because it's like everyone wanted to like bring him in under their wing and be like, oh my God, I'm going to teach you how to play Big Brother. We saw Danielle do this with Lisa. Everyone wanted to bring Ian in their group. You got Brittany trying to mentor him. Dan at a point, not the whole time, because Dan wanted to blindside him plenty. Bring him in and be like my new renegade. He was obviously lying. You also got Mike Boogie. I'm going to bring you under my wing. All the coaches wanted to bring this guy under their wing. Frank trusted him at a point. Ashley trusted him. Everyone likes Ian. Ian's a super fan. He's innocent. He's a nice guy. Ian founded the Quack Pack, which was really just like the remnants of the Silent Six without Ian. Without Frank and Boogie, but he was a part of the Quack Pack. They're like, let's weaponize this kid. I give Brittany a lot of credit for really weaponizing Ian a lot. But once Ian was out there, he was out there. Dan was ready to turn on him a lot. I blame Danielle Murphy for stopping him from cutting him when he was ready to cut him. Ian would win a lot of competitions when he wasn't supposed to, put a hole in Dan's game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Ian is such a good player. I think Ian has a really good strategist, but notice I didn't say fantastic. He's an average strategist. His social awareness, not the best. I remember he had no idea the Silent Six was a thing. Another thing with Ian, if you look at his social game, he said a lot of things that sketch people out. Especially, I remember the week he said something to Brittany where she was like, "You're not going to put Shane and my people up if you win, right?" He said it's not in the foreseeable circumstance, and that really sketched Brittany out to the point that the Silent Six was even formed. I think Ian is a good winner, but not a perfect winner. I think had it not been for a lot of these competition wins, Ian would have been gone with swiftness, so he had no idea, I'm sure, until after the season that so many of these alliances were even created. He has some horrible social awareness. And if season 22 does play a factor, I mean, he was not the best there either, but I'm not going to talk about that. It's not his winning season. I don't know. I think Ian is a competent winner. If I were to put him somewhere, I would put him C. I'm not going to lie. I will put him in the top of C. I think he has the killer instinct because obviously, like Drew, Drew cut Diane. I think Ian cut Boogie. And I think Ian forced himself to be in the game when he was not wanted into the game. I think Brittany and Dan actually put their games on the line to protect this guy when he was giving them valuable information about what Boogie and Frank were doing, to the point where Boogie and Frank trusted Ian so much that they didn't even think him as a person who would snitch on them. So I think Ian has a lot of good factors, but he's not a perfect winner. So I personally will put him at the top of C, but I'm also open for B. What about you, Lovina?
He's a better player than Hayden, in my opinion.
Okay.
I do believe that, because when you look at the three, I keep doing this, but this is how I'm looking at each player personally in my head. When I look at the 3 categories, I think he has a great social game. I do think it's great. Sure, he said some kind of things, like, especially in the first week, that people were kind of like, what's up with this guy? Something's off. Like, what's up with this? But outside of that, you're absolutely correct. Everyone did like him. Everyone did want to work with him. And I think that he, I don't know how to say this in English. Sorry. There's like a word, there's something that makes him very likable to people. He's very thoughtful. I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it in English. I need to this is what happens when you're bilingual. But he's just he makes people like him. And I think that he has a really good social game. Strategic, I agree, it's very average. It's extremely average. And then the competition prowess is very good. So the way that I look at these tiers, so the S tier, and honestly, just Dan is like perfect player. I think that
Yeah.
I think that Doc near as perfect, as close to perfect as we can get. Dr. Will is like a near perfect player. The A tier girls that we have so far are very like great players, and then B is good. So I would definitely put Ian as a good winner. I really think that he should go there. At least
So
at the end of B or above Hayden.
I would say end of B because I think the only difference between Hayden and Ian is I think Hayden's awareness with things that were going on was a lot better than Ian's. To the fact where like he was aware when Matt was starting to be a little sketchy. He was aware when Lane was starting to trying to protect Brittany a little too much. And I think he was aware that he needed to make certain moves when it was needed to be done, like cutting Enzo to get Lane to the end. Ian didn't find out about a lot of stuff until he was sitting right next to Dan on the finale night. And to be honest, I will say a lot of Ian's win is a vote against Dan. I think a vote for Hayden was a vote for Hayden to win. So that's
But we're
why.
not doing it based off of that, though. Remember?
Okay, and that's
We're
fine.
not.
That's true. That's true. I'm not going to even bring it, but I just think Ian was really unaware of what was really going on in this season, to the fact that he didn't know that if it was up to Dan, I don't think Dan takes Ian to the finale personally. I think he was so infatuated with this whole new age renegade thing that he had no clue about the Silent Six, about how close he was really trying to take Danielle to the end. And he was even blindsided when Brittany got taken out, who honestly I think it was more loyal to Brittany than Dan. So it's like I love Ian, so I will level with you. I'll put him in B. I don't know if I can put him over Hayden though.
So I agree with what you're saying about his awareness, because he was technically blindsided a lot, but I will have a slight challenge to that. I don't know if I'm just trying, because I just really like Ian. If it's that,
Okay.
but nobody knew what Dan Gheesling was thinking. It's Dan Gheesling. He walked out of that room looking insane. Like no
Yeah.
one knew what he was thinking. Everyone was blindsided. So having somebody like that, when you compare it to Hayden in this case, Hayden was aware. Okay, it's Matt. There's some other players that he was up against, like maybe like Brendan or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it's like when you compare who they were working with, it's just like. Yeah, of course he wasn't aware of what Dan was thinking, because it's Dan.
Okay.
But that's my only challenge. I do agree with you. I will leave him under
We can do it. We can do it. We can put him over Hayden. Why not? We can put him over
I
Hayden.
mean,
I'll let you win a battle every now and then. It's it's picking hairs right here. All right. So there you go. There you go, Ian. All right, so in my opinion, we have the first winner of the third era of Big Brother, Andy here. Technically, some people say he's a part of the second era. There's not a distinct answer to that. Obviously, we're just banter. But next we have Andy Herren. I think Andy is a very hated winner because of his play style and because of the season he was in. If we look at his stats, he was only nominated once. I think he won 3 HOHs and 2 vetoes. Obviously, he was a part of most of the alliances. They are named, but they're kind of irrelevant, so I'm not going to name drop them. But the one that he did create that kind of ran the end game of the season was the Exterminators. I think Andy Herren is one of the most disrespected winners of Big Brother. I do think he's one of the best.
Yes.
I think Andy's, just like his social game, first of all, is phenomenal. I think the fact that he was able to hide behind the Amandas of the world, and then Helen and Alyssa, and then Aaron. Like, this guy honestly kept hiding behind the big players to the point that he had all the information. Everyone trusted him. Everyone was bringing them in his alliances. And when it was time to strike, he blindsided Amanda so bad that McCrae, who was the next HOH, trusts him and puts up Alyssa, who was on his side, which was wild. And honestly, one of the least talked about situations.
Yep.
One of the craziest blindsides of Big Brother history. I think Andy's complete dominance for the rest of the season was wild. You know, the creation of the Exterminators, where you have some of the most irrelevant players this season, with Judd, who returns. He's a returning play. He's not going to win. Spencer, who couldn't win the competition for his life. And then you got Gina Marie, who no one respected in the house, because I'm not to be rude, but she was not the smartest player. So it's like he really created this like band of misfits to just run the rest of the game with no opposition whatsoever. I think Andy was such a good player. Not the most likable, and obviously, since he kind of, I'm not going to say he invented the rat strategy, he didn't, but he really perfected the rat strategy to the point where he was always ratting out Amanda's side to Helen's side, put those two people together, and then started ratting out Aaron. He ratted out everyone. This guy was a complete snitch, but it was so good, and it really benefited him. So I think Andy he's either A or S. I don't want to put him in S, but non-bias here. There's a possibility he's an S. I'm going to be honest with you. Lovina, am I crazy?
No, but I would probably put him above Maggie and A. He's absolutely 100% A. I have been in his corner since forever. Like, I'm an Andy fan. Say what you want about the guy. Gameplay wise, I am obsessed with his gameplay. I think it's top tier in all three of the categories. He's competent in competitions. His strategic is 11 out of 10 for everything you just said. I don't even need to say it again. And then his social game is just like, I mean, he had these people just, you're fooling McCrae. Like, I get that McCrae had towards the end of the game, like, his soul was sucked. Like, the guy was like, get me out of it. Like, his like whole like brain was just like, get me out of this house. I think that he's an extremely disrespected winner. He's one of the best winners on this list. And I'm hoping that we get another winner that can emulate that style of gameplay. That is the most exciting kind of gameplay that I want to watch. And it does remind me a little bit of June. Excuse me. But yeah, so I would just drop him right next to her. It's definitely A tier. Nothing below that.
I could put him either above or behind.
Yeah.
I'm fine with putting him behind. I think Andy's such a good winner. And disrespected, I'm gonna be honest. I think I just like Adam. We said with Adam, I think it's because of the season he was in, unfortunately. But great player, great winner, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Derek. So I'm so glad to talk about this. I just watched Big Brother 16 for the podcast, the review podcast recently. So his win is fresh in my mind.
What did Chappelle say? I missed it. I had my holiday party.
He does not like Derek, but he thinks he's good. I'm gonna let you go first because I've been going first a lot, and then I'll give my analyzation here.
Okay, so we have avoided talking about the season, and we've avoided talking about, based off of like who won, who they were sitting next to. But I will have to bring up the season just a little bit personally, because we did talk about it for obviously Rachel a little bit, and very much so for Dick. The structure of the season. I think that the structure of the season for 16, the cast was very weak to me personally. I think the other best player of the season, some might say Cody. Sure. I say Frankie Grande. Personally. And I don't like the impact that Derek has on the show. But that's not what we're talking about. So it is A. It has to be A. That's the highest I'll go. I'm not doing S. Personally, I just can't, because of the weakness of the cast, and the way that the alliance, that his alliance, or just the way that the majority alliance had taken over the show. I just don't see. Then I'm like, but girl, it's just because like you're not a fan of it. That doesn't mean it's not valid and it's not good. It is good.
Yeah.
It's A. Just shut me up. It's A.
So he's definitely A.
Mhm.
So I'm so glad I got to rewatch the season so I could have a clear mind of where his faults and his power and his strengths are. I think his strengths, Derek is a phenomenal strategist. He's a phenomenal social player, and he is pretty good at competition. He won 4 comps, so he is very good across the board. So there's no way he's going lower than A. I don't care if you guys don't like him. Great player. So here's my thing with Derek. First of all, I think he took the scraps of what Devin did with the bomb squad and he created the detonators plus Caleb, which completely ran the season. I think his one-on-one connections with people like Donnie, we'll get there in a second, with his people like Cody and Victoria played a huge factor in his game. I'm trying to think of any more strengths before I get to his weaknesses because there's a couple. I just think that he knows when to pivot and when to pivot. I think that he's like a glue factor for a lot of these people where like he's consistently stopping people like Zach from doing very impulsive things for a little bit until he loses control of him. I think he definitely stops Cody from starting war in the house plenty. Like Cody wanted to take shots at Caleb and Frankie multiple times, and he kept stopping him from doing it. And I just think the way Derek impacted the game, like he just had a hold on the season, which is wild. I think his strength is keeping all the big threats in the game long enough that they have to take shots at each other, and they can't afford to take shots at him because he's working with them by perception, right? Here's a problem with Derek that I didn't think of for the longest because I used to put Derek top of A for the longest. I think Derek definitely was aided by Team America, which kind of stopped people from coming after him, specifically Frankie at times, because I think Frankie, who was wary of Derek and knew that Derek was a good player, got to a point, unfortunately, where he was like, Derek is the only person I can trust because everyone's throwing my name. And I think Donnie, who did not trust Derek for anything, stopped himself from targeting Derek for Team America just for the money and the pre-built alliance. I'll also say Battle of the Block definitely helped him, just like it definitely helped Vanessa. I think it definitely helped Derek in the season just to break the structure of the game to make a 7-person alliance to run the rest of the season. And it was very smart. And also, as you said, this cast, I feel like gets a lot of slack. I do think after watching this is a very strategic cast. People have this false notion that Derek didn't face any adversity. I think he did. I think Derek faced Donnie, actually was about to flip Cody to put up Caleb till Caleb can leave. And then once Frankie ratted that out to Derek, Derek completely did his mind Jedi tricks on Cody and completely changed his mind again to put Donnie on the block after Cody just promised Donnie not to put him up. I think, Zach Rance definitely was about to blow up his game, which was a weakness because he got caught. And if Zach wasn't stupid and didn't admit that he was lying, Derek looked really bad in that argument. And I think Derek gets caught and actually possibly loses Victoria or potentially loses Nicole. I think the reset button helped Derek because had it not been for the reset button, Victoria leaves, who is also another very important part in his game. So I think he is a really strong player in Big Brother, but he's also a very lucky player because of all the twists that was going on. Literally, Julie started off the season saying this is the most twisted season ever, and she wasn't lying because all the twists helped Derek out unintentionally. And I just think he's just a great player, though. I do think he's a great player despite all these things. I just can't put him at the top of A anymore like I used to. I feel like he should be behind June, but I also see an argument where he's behind Andy. I'm not going to lie. I might put him behind Andy. And this is actually the first time I've ever said that in like life because I've always put Derek relatively high. I just think that he's really helped, and I don't know how well he does without Battle of the Block, Team America, the reset button. I don't know. So I personally will put him behind Andy. But how do you feel?
I mean, I feel great about that.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of thinking like, because so many people, so what I argue against all the time is not that Derek is a good player, because he is. No one's saying he's not. That's not what I'm arguing against. I'm arguing against putting him next to Dan and Dr. Will. That's the only thing I've always argued against. So he's just not an S tier player for me personally.
Yeah.
And I think I'm struggling between, obviously, I'm a huge fan of June and Andy's style of gameplay. So I'm like, is this just me, my opinion? Or is this our opinion? I mean, yeah, it is. It is. It's our opinion. Put him there. Screw it. If people are upset about it, then.
Now, hot take. I actually think Cody's strategy is way better than Derek, and I think he's actually a better player than Derek. But with that being said, I can never put Cody over Derek, because why the hell would you take Derek to the end? You know what I'm saying? Had it not been for that, I actually put Cody over Derek. But since then, like wherever Derek is, Cody's always not going to be able to pass that because of that specific reason. Had it not been for that, I actually think watching this season that Cody's aggressive play style is way better. But we'll get to him when we have to rank him. So Derek, is he over Andy? I'm gonna leave it for now. I might return to that. I'm not gonna lie, I might return to that, but we'll get to that. But yeah, there's Derek. That's the first time I've ever ranked Derek that low, but it feels right after watching 16 again. So
I do want to say before we start with Morgan, I'm realizing that we kind of can't rank her because her season was fully America. Like fully
yeah.
America. I think that she played a good adaptable game, but we can't rank her because there was like for all these other people were like, well, Team America helped them and America's player helped them, but it's like that's the whole structure of the season was them voting for care packages and all that stuff. So we can't really.
Yeah. All right. So I guess skipping Morgan Willett, we are going to next rank Steve Moses, another different winner. I chose Steve. First of all, he was a comp beast. Yeah, he was a comp beast. He won 4 HOHs, 2 vetoes, nominated 5 times though. He also did win Battle of the Block 1 time. So, do you want to go first or should I go first?
I think this is another one of those where the winner of the season is not the face of the season. I really, really like Steve. I think that he's, I keep saying this word, adaptable to the game. He survived. Like you said, he was on the block plenty of times. He was wanting to be targeted plenty of times, but he survived. He kind of hid behind people. He hid behind the Vanessas of the world. I think he hid behind, the Austins of the world. And he placed himself into positions where he wouldn't be the first target, but like of that, like a duo, for example, with Johnny Mac. Everyone knows they were going after Johnny Mac because that was the veto king of the season, and they did go after him. They got rid of him at one point, so I think that he did place himself into good positions. I also think that his move cutting Vanessa at the end was the winning move. It was because I'm sorry, like no disrespect to Liz, but they were not going to vote for her to win. No, she was only going to get the 2 votes to win. Or well, I think she got 3 because Vanessa was.
It's up for discussion. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that, but I do think that that last move was that big winning move. So
yeah.
Oh, but the place that I would put him would probably be. I don't know. Like I'm between like end of B and top of C.
I'm with you there. I think Steve is a phenomenal competition beast. His strategy is so weird. I think he unintentionally broke the game but not really. Like the dude sat in a room for like half of the summer, came out, and then was like, "Look, you guys need a number. You guys are losing Shelly and Clay. I'm your guy." And the Scamper Squad picked him up because they were down in numbers. And kind of like the Ian effect, like we just spoke. I think Steve was very underestimated as a player, to the fact that comp. Vanessa tried to weaponize the guy, so when she was ready to turn on the Oz twins, she needed Steve and John Mack right there. here's the thing, you know, the good thing about him is that Vanessa underestimated him so far to the point where she made a fatal flaw in taking him to the final three, right? And that's not a fault on Steve, that's a fault on Vanessa. I think it's a strength on Steve that, you know, he was projected as such a non-threat that they accidentally took him to the end when they shouldn't have, you know. So I don't think Steve is the best social player. I think he's actually pretty bad. I do think he is an average strategist because, you know, he got placed himself in the big alliance that he needed to. And, you know, he cut Vanessa when he needed to. So, you know, he actually knows the right time to make certain moves. I can't call him a phenomenal strategist because the dude went on the block a lot. A lot of people did not care for Steve and they thought he was expendable. But he won a lot of competitions and that's always good, you know. So I think Steve, I don't want to put him in B. If you asked me a couple years ago, Steve is a B tier winner, but I do think now that I have more people to look at, he is a C tier. I'm trying to decide if he's above or behind Drew. What do you think, Lovina?
I'll go with some, like, is it recency bias?
That's fine. I mean, look, it is what it is.
I would put him above.
Okay, that's fine. Let's do it. So Steve is top of C. Getting full. We only got a couple more left. We're at hour 25 minutes in this. This is wild. But as y'all can see, we have good reasoning for everything. We don't just talk out of our asses. But it's time to talk about another fun winner, Nicole Franzel, who was one placement away from being our Sandra of Big Brother. Nicole Franzel in her winning season, we know she played 3 times. She has 4 wins, which is 2 HOHs, 2 vetoes. She was nominated twice. Some good alliances she was a part of. She was part of the Fatal 5, the 8-pack, the Returners, Nicole Showmance, and she was also part of the Final 4 alliance. So Franzel, you know, all bias besides, I think Franzel is a phenomenal Big Brother player, and I hate to say it, but she is so good. I think she took a huge hit in Big Brother 16 and took Derek's style and put her own little kick on it, right? It's funny, Big Brother 16 has 3 winners, the only season to produce 3 winners. And I think Cody and Nicole definitely took notes from Derek and put their own spins on it. And I think Nicole's spin was, I'm going to get with the guy and we're going to get with all his friends and then we're going to back him out of here. And, you know, she's so good with that. I think she has a really good social game to the point where, you know, people like Paul unfortunately takes her to the end. You know, she you know, has Corey basically being a huge shield for her. You know, she has Paulie trying to protect her and Corey. You know, I think her social game is really good, even though she does not play well with girls. A big thing for her strategy is, you know, throwing the girls under the bus, which she will never admit. But, you know, she throws girls under the bus and she wants to be the last one in the house. But I mean, it works. You know, it's not the best, it's not the most fun to watch, but she is really good at just like playing the slimy game. And, you know, I think she's the only one in Big Brother to correctly play this style. So, you know, I have a lot of respect for her game. And my only issue with her game is that I don't think she has a good compass of who I should be bringing to the end, right? I think her first season, I think she was just there until she got eliminated. Obviously, she got eliminated twice her first season, so that doesn't really count. Her second season, she would have took Corey to the end, and I think Corey actually beats her. I think a lot of the jury liked Corey more than Nicole, and I think that was a huge flaw. And then even in All-Stars, you see what happened there. She was about to take Cody to the end, and I actually don't know if she beats Cody, but you know, like, what the hell are you thinking there? You know, so it's like, I think Nicole has a really bad compass of who she should be taking to the end. She only beat Paul by 1 vote. That's also not good. So, you know, she's not the best at jury management. And, you know, I think she would have had a hard time in All-Stars too as well if she sat on that jury. So, you know, I think she's great, but she also is very flawed. If I'm ranking Nicole, she is A tier. I'm sorry to tell you guys, she is A tier. I can't put her over Derek because Derek did outplay her. So I would put her over Maggie. But that's where I'm putting Nicole. How about you, Lovina?
Yeah, I was gonna say definitely over Lisa at the least. For me, I do think that Nicole is also a disrespected winner because of the personal reasons people have for her. And look, if she wants to throw the women under the bus, that is a personal issue that she should be looking into within herself as to why am I like that. That's not my business. That's not your business. It's not really for us to talk about. We can just comment on it and move on. But for the gameplay, it is good gameplay because she doesn't something I have with her is that she doesn't it's like she doesn't know she's capable of playing that slimy game, and she's good at it, and I think that she doesn't think that she's playing it because of that last point that you made, which was, well, I'm going to stay loyal to Cody and I'm going to be really upset and cry, which, like, to be fair, I don't blame her when he, I guess, kind of blindsided her in 22, but for 18, she wants to take Corey to the end. I think she views herself as a loyal player, but she's not. She doesn't really seem to understand the style of game that she plays, which is super unfortunate because I do think that it's one of the more impressive female games that we've seen. So that's why I would definitely rank her above Lisa. I just think that Maggie was a little bit more, how do I say it? She was a little bit more aware. I mean, I would say like more aware and more willing to do something extremely,
That's fair.
slimy. But Nicole is just constantly like battling with herself to do like what she did to Davon, kind of a thing in Big
Yeah.
Brother 22. But we're not talking about that. But yeah, so
I do agree with you actually. Now that I'm looking at, like, Nicole and Maggie are actually both really bad with social, and I think
yeah.
and I do think their jury management are both not good. I'm going to agree with you. I would actually put Maggie over Nicole because I think Maggie would never bring someone that she would lose to the end. So I think I agree with that. I do think that Nicole should still be A, though. I'm not going to lie. I would put her bottom A.
Okay, I'm okay with that. But another
Okay.
thing too, another reason I would dock her for the social game is that she was having a lot of issues with Michelle, for example,
Yeah.
during her winning season, and I think and listen, she definitely, I can see from her perspective, like, I don't really want to make nice with this person. She's just coming after me. She didn't like me like walking into this house. Like, Michelle had her issues, but I think that from a gameplay perspective, if you want to try to get on the good side of as many people as you can. I think she
Yeah.
definitely had the opportunity to pull Michelle aside and be like, "Hey, what's going on? Let's talk about this. We're two women, and listen, we can say, well, she doesn't want to work with women." And again, it goes back to the whole, okay, that's something that Nicole needs to work on with Nicole, but that's something I think that she could have improved on.
I mean, you can also say the same thing about Maggie, though. I think that she only
Totally.
had her size of the house, and I don't think she had a lot of people who really liked her. I'm trying to see what was the final jury vote for Maggie's win. What was it?
I
Let
think
me
Yvette got Bo. Obviously, I think she might have gotten
one,
No, no, not
two.
Janelle.
So she won 4-3. So just like Nicole, she won by one vote. Like Nicole and Maggie are actually really close, which is so that's crazy. They both won by one vote, which is wild. So I do want to put her in A. I'm not gonna lie, I do want to put her in A.
I'm
I
down.
think they are
She's at the bottom.
very similar. They are very
Yeah,
similar.
I agree.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that. Wow, Maggie and okay, I just saw what you said. We're going to speed this up a little bit. But yeah, Maggie and Nicole are very very similar. We gotta get Lovina out here soon, so we're gonna speed this up a little bit. And luckily, so here's the thing: do we want to take these celebrity winners out? Do we really need them here?
Yeah, I mean, Tamar's S. That's all I'm gonna say.
Let's take them out. We don't
Oh,
we don't need to.
and for season 3, Chris Kirkpatrick robbed. Come on.
We'll definitely talk about the celebrity rankings in the review podcast. But okay, so we only got a couple left. So let's talk about Josh Martinez real quick. I think Josh Martinez So Josh Martinez, I think, was smart to like use the diary, the goodbye messages as strategy. There's not a lot of people who've done that. But with that being said, Josh Martinez has some of the worst social games in Big Brother history. Josh 100% won because the jury hated Paul. And Josh fought, like, I've never seen someone outside of like what Evil Dick like bang pans and do the carnival circus music to win the game. I think he pissed a lot of people off. And honestly, had Josh sat next to anyone else on the cast that wasn't Paul, Josh 100% loses in a horrible fashion. So Josh is not a good winner to me. I do like that he correctly pointed out what he needed to do to win, but Josh isn't a good winner to me.
That's exactly true. I think the one good thing that he did do was to take Paul, when in reality, I don't know about you, but when I was watching that live, I was like, oh my God, you idiot. Why would you do that? Take Christmas. I don't think he would have won. Christmas would have won. And I think that this so obviously we're looking at these players based off of individual players. It's really, in this season, particularly, it's really hard to do that because he very clearly won because everybody hated Paul. But if we look at him from so if we have that context in mind as a full season, Josh deserved to win because Paul mishandled. This, he mishandled that. He did deserve to win overall, but as an individual winner, is it F?
Yes.
Okay.
I put him top of F.
Jordan.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like I just the amount of crap this guy did, like would never fly in another season. He's an early boot in any other season. It's crazy.
But did he deserve to win? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we are on the same page with that one. Mm-hmm. So we could talk about the controversial person, which shockingly, I don't know why, Kaycee Clark. Kaycee, winner of 20. Kaycee, I don't remember what record or what close record she has, but she won 2 HOHs, 5 vetoes. She was nominated 3 times. Obviously, she was a part of Coast to Coast, which is the duo with Tyler, one of the best in the game, in my opinion. And she was a part of Level 6, also one of the best alliances in Big Brother. Kaycee was in a cast full of people who hated each other, and she was the light that people didn't mind. I think she was smiling. She was nice to people. She said, let's go. And she won her competitions. And, she's a part of that Drew Hayden category that I spoke about earlier, where I think you put Kaycee in most seasons, she does pretty well most of her seasons. She wins comps. She's the alliance girl. And I think she doesn't piss people off. I think she's always going to be an end game jury threat. The issue with Kaycee, I don't know if she has the killer instinct to cut a person when she needs to cut them. I don't think if it was up to her, she would cut Tyler when she needed to. I don't know if she thought that she would beat Tyler. She actually won by 1 vote, which is not that good. So she's always going to be a comp threat. She's always going to be a social game threat. Not the best strategically, though. I think when she's given instructions of what to do, she'll carry them out flawlessly. But I don't think she has the I need to cut this person to win vibes. But how about you?
Yeah, I think that Kaycee's obviously her competitive game is excellent. We can give her a 10 out of 10 on that. And I think that that's what, for me, the placement I would put her would be between Drew and Adam, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but the reasoning for that is I think what propelled her to get the win was a good social game. And yes, I get it. People were slightly bitter towards Tyler, but I don't believe that's the full reason that she won. I think when you look at seasons like the last one, yeah, that's why Josh won. But I do think that she had a pretty decent social game, and people liked her. People enjoyed being around her. There are some people, she hardly got into fights. Like, I mean, it's like the whole thing with Scotty, but I mean, was that really a fight? It was just stupid, like whatever. But I do agree. I do think that she saw the game as like a team versus team thing. And there are a lot of players like that. There are players that are like, well, if you win, I win. I think that's how she felt about Tyler. And Tyler, talking about Tyler is like a whole situation, different situation. But I feel like he towards the end of the game believed that as well. So yeah, that's not super strategic minded on Kaycee's part. But to to say that she only won because of Tyler, in my opinion, is wrong. Did I wish Tyler won? Absolutely. But yeah, her placement, I think, is where I said should go.
I was prepared to argue with you, but I agree with you. So look, I am going to put Kaycee here because I think her and Drew are the same archetype. I would move Steve down to under Drew but above Kaycee because I think they both, like, he cut Diane, he cut Vanessa. That was a winning move. I think Drew, because looking at Kaycee, I think Kaycee has the winning equity almost every time she plays. Steve doesn't. But I think Steve is a more competent player to cut the person instead of Kaycee. So I do think Drew has the winning equity more times than Steve. I will put Steve under Drew personally. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with
but
it.
I agree with that. You convinced. I didn't even think about you. That was good. Okay.
I'm a lawyer.
Okay. So we got our last 4 recent winners. We got everyone's favorite Jackson Michie. So Jackson 4 HOHs, 4 vetoes, nominated 3 times. What a weird player to rank, right? I mean, obviously, we're gonna put all the I can't really put the bullshit side. The bullshit in the house we can talk about.
Right.
I think he was a part of Grateful, which was a good move, but he was never really a part of the main structure of Grateful. I think he got lucky that the lines blew up when it did because they were getting ready to fling this guy. I think it was smart that he moved with the Cliff and Nicole collective when he did. I thought that him eavesdropping on Tommy and then getting Tommy in trouble was masterful and one of the better moves in recent Big Brother years. And I think he is obviously such a force with competitions, and I think him and Holly were a good duo. I think Jackson's social game is piss poor, though, to the fact that I think that if he's not sitting next to Holly, I think he loses to a lot of. Does he beat Cliff? He might beat Cliff. He might beat Nicole. So I mean, he was good to sit with who he was sitting with in the final 4. I'll give him that. But I think that more time than none, his social game does not work out for him. He just has a really piss poor attitude. He's a big crybaby. And I think even though he is very good strategically, because I do think he is really good strategically and physically, which is why I'm not going to rank him too low, actually. I think that his social game is so bad to the point that if certain things don't happen, like them blow-ups happening at specific weeks, he goes home very early. So I do want to put Jackson in C. I'm not going to lie. I might put him over Adam Jasinski. That's where I'm thinking, but I don't know yet. But how do you feel?
Totally. I think that's the perfect spot, honestly. Because everything that he the areas that he wasn't great at, Kaycee was a little bit better at, like the social stuff, something that works. I do think that for Jackson, his end game was pretty masterful, but then I start thinking, could Holly have won? I think Holly could have won. And I think that she's an underrated player. Slightly, nothing too crazy, but there's like a line that sticks in my head during her speeches. First of all, I think she performed during the final 2 very well. I think Holly did a very good job. There was a line that she said, yeah, sure, Jackson was this and he did this, but if I wasn't there to dig the back of my heel into him and drag him back, then I don't know if he would have still been here. I don't know if he would have been here without me, basically. And I think I completely agree with her in that aspect. I think that if he didn't have Holly, would he have won? I don't really know. I mean, I might be overrating her slightly, but I do think that he has a harder time making it to the end. But the play with Tommy was extremely entertaining to watch. And say what you will about him, not a fan of him, and it wasn't from day one. But it was like, that's the kind of TV I want to see.
So. Yes, I agree. So I'm glad that we're on the same page with that. We got 3 people left. Next is Cody Calafiore. Straight up, I'm gonna be honest with you. I cannot put him past Derek. I can't put him past Derek. I think Cody is honestly hated on for a lot of BS reasons. I don't think he's a bad player at all, actually. I know people like to bring up the pre-gaming. First of all, his first season, I think he did very well. I know the end game decision was one of the dumbest. I don't know why he made it. But outside of that moment, he is actually a really competent player in 16. And then you look at him in this season, everyone should have been pre-gaming. Let's be honest. It's a returnee season.
Fair.
Even outside the pre-game, the pre-gaming is usually relevant like the first 2 days, and then it goes out the window after that. So I think Cody, first of all, really was smart to lock himself in with Enzo. He was playing, he got the first HOH. He was like trying to figure out who he wanted to lock himself with. Enzo's the perfect person to lock in because everyone wants to work with Enzo. The root was such a the Root was an amazing dynamic duo. I think that he played Nicole perfectly to the point that he got her to do a lot of his dirty work. I think that the committee was a great smokescreen to the point that Memphis couldn't take a shot at him when he wanted to. Tyler couldn't take a shot at him when he wanted to. Danny couldn't take a shot at him when he wanted to because they were all stuck in this big alliance that he created. And on top of that, the guy is really good at competitions, really good social game, doesn't piss people off. And then he's also really good strategically. I think he honestly took Derek's attempt at the game and played it way more aggressively by taking out anyone that would be a direct threat at him immediately, where Derek would try to take those people to the end so they can come at each other. It was like, hell no, we're snipping this in the butt now and getting them out. I think Derek is oh my God. I think Cody is a really good player, and I think he's hated a lot. And I can see why, because this podcast, you'd be talking a little too spicy over there. But in the house, he's not a bad player. With that being said, see, I know where I would rank him. I want to see where you would rank him first, Lovina. Where are you putting Cody?
Let me just say a small spiel before I come up with that, because I kind of don't really know yet. So I do think that the hate that he gets is shitty. I think anybody on this list, minus some people, but like, don't send hate to people, okay? Anyone. I don't agree with that. But yeah, I do think that he is a good player. He's a competent player. I think he seems like a good guy too. Like, he seems like a good person. So give him his flowers there. Absolutely. Everything that you said. But there is, I said it about a bunch of other people on this list. The structure of the season was weak. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it any further than that. It's just the cast was weak. And we had a big alliance. It's like, great, we get it. But then I'm like, okay, again, I'm not a fan of this style of gameplay personally, but I think most people are not. And his season is just another thing. It's kind of like Andy. His season doesn't get a lot of love. But did he deserve his win? Yeah, he did. Come on, guys. Like, I really think that he is a good player. Not my favorite. Don't even think about putting him in S tier. Same as Derek. That's what I argue against. I think that there's the two are fine where they are. So I think that Cody should go next to the right of Derek.
I agree. That's exactly what I was going to put him.
Great.
Also the only player to have a perfect win. That's crazy. I agree. That's literally the exact place I would put him. So we're on the same page with that. Okay. We got 2 left. We got Xavier Prather, winner of Big Brother 23. In my opinion, well, obviously Tiffany is the mastermind.
It's Tiffany's season, yeah.
I would say X is the de facto leader of the cookout, though. I think had it not been for X, I think that the cookout would have blew up so many times. I think X doesn't get the credit he deserves, to the point where, well, first of all, 3 HOH wins, 3 vetoes, amazing. I think X doesn't get the credit he deserves of really playing the best cookout game. I think Tiffany played the best season game, the best regular Big Brother game.
I like that.
Everybody in the cookout, in my opinion, should have known that you should have been playing in the cookout more than outsourcing. Tiffany was more focused with Claire, DX, Christian trying to make these outside bonds. X was like, if this is going to be the final 6, shouldn't you be focusing on the bonds within the alliance? And he was smart to grab DF, who no one was working with, Azza, who no one was working with. And honestly, he gassed Kylan's head up so much that even Kylan was like, I want to work with that guy to the end. Let's let the bygones be bygones. Horrible move by Kylan. But X did that perfectly. And I think he basically isolated Tiff and Hannah to the point where once we let them keep DX in Claire until the end. Let them be the last people to lose their people. Because obviously he kept the list, but he's like, once they're gone, they're going to be forced to work with us, and they didn't put in the work that I put in. So I know a lot of people are confused. Why did Azza cut Hannah? And I used to be in that camp too. But it's like, X put work in with Ozzy and spoke to Ozzy actively to the point where she's
Yeah.
like, I love Hannah, I love Tiffany, but DF and X actually spoke to me. So it's like, why wouldn't you? I know Kylan, horrible move. I think that he should have worked with Tiffany and them, but he didn't. But X did some phenomenal social work to the point where they're like, I want to work with X. He played the best cookout game, and I think a lot of people don't give him the credit he is there. Obviously, if had it not been for the cookout, I don't know how far X goes because I think a lot of people correctly identified him as a threat. Obviously, he was really close with Alyssa and Christian, but I don't know how far that goes. If you have like these separate entities and all these other side alliances going at each other, but obviously that's a hearsay. That's not reality. Reality is X played the best cookout win game, and I think he played good. If I were to rank X, where would I put him? That's a good question. I don't know. Like X is I think X also fits in that Drew Daniel kind of Drew Hayden Kaycee conversation, the
Totally.
straight guy, but he was a lot more powerful than all of them. Like, do I put him under Cody? Do I put him under Nicole? Do I put him above Lisa? I can fit him in a lot of places here. So I'm open
Above
to a lot of
Lisa.
things. Okay.
Above Lisa. And I think that the way that you put it was actually perfect because I hadn't thought about it that way. I was a huge Tiffany and Hannah fan, so I was super disappointed when it went the way that it did. But the way that you put it about he was playing the cookout game, I didn't even think about that. I hadn't even thought about that. Tiffany, it is Tiffany's season, but yeah, you're right. He did play just how he needed to get to the end to win. At that point, he was like, let me think about me. And everyone else, rightfully so, of course, was thinking about, okay, how do we get all of us to the end? Cook out to the end. And they got that. It's like X like saw the future, like, nah, we're making it to final six. Let me focus on myself here. I'm like choking.
Yeah.
Let me make like the bonds that I need to. And yeah, to your point about Ozza, yeah, obviously Ozza was going to make that move because he was building something with her. And a lot of people were saying some bullshit like, oh, well, she was just like attracted to him. It's like stop talking about women like that. Anyways, yeah, so I definitely think that he's perfect where he is.
Here's
Are you
one thing.
mad?
No, no,
Or
no,
not
no, no.
mad?
I was with
Questioning.
you at first, but now I'm just like, I'm comparing him a little bit to Maggie because I think Maggie also had a de facto group. Like, here's my thing.
Ah,
I feel like Maggie, Derek, Cody, Andy all just like led packs of people. I don't really count Nicole. I think those four like led packs of people, and they were all the figureheads of their pack. Andy, exterminators. Derek, he was the leader of the detonators. Cody was the leader of the committee. Maggie was the leader of the friendship. I think
I see.
X was the leader, but also Hayden technically is the leader of the brigade. But I do think X played a better.
X
I
played a
don't
better
know.
game.
He might be under Maggie,
I think
but
so
Nicole's also good. I don't
but the
know.
difference between that, if we're talking about leaders, if you think a leader's better than someone like Nicole is more of like, she wasn't necessarily a leader, she was slithering. Like people call her a snake. Like I'm not saying this as a joke. She was slithering between like I said, she needed to put herself in the best position. That's not
Yeah,
necessarily X, but it's also a matter of do you think that that's the better gameplay? Is
yeah,
being a leader or Nicole?
right. Because it also comes down to control. So where would you keep X still in B? I'm just
I'm going
like,
to say yes. I'm going to
okay,
say yes just because I do think that when you're talking about the cookout game, it wasn't necessarily a full season's game.
okay, that's
Tiffany
fair.
was. Tiffany
That's fair.
was. And that's why we ranked her so freaking high on our all-time players list where she deserved to be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like picking hairs at this point because he's so comparable to like a lot of these people. Yeah, because also I think like just like we said with Hayden, although Hayden was really good, his game was very intertwined with how his group was. I think X is like that too. So,
Mhm.
all right. Lastly, we have Taylor
We
Hale.
made it.
let me put wow, like an hour 53. That's crazy. Um Taylor Hale, our newest winner of Big Brother. She won 2 HOHs, 0 vetoes, nominated 6 times. My God. Obviously a part of alliances, a lot of one-on-ones, but a part of the leftovers, the jailer, and she was also a part of the threesome alliance with Michael and Brittany. Before I go, what's your analyzation? Oh my God, analyzation? What is your review on
Analysis,
Taylor? Your
Isaiah.
analysis. Chill out. What is your analysis on Taylor?
It's okay. I'm illiterate. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I'm so, like, at the beginning of this podcast that I said 15 million years ago, I was saying how Kevin and Taylor really both brought me joy in 2022 because we're seeing different ways to win the game. And that's the first thought I had when I was like, no shot she loses, especially after her, not even talking about the final 2 performance that she did. Before that, I was like, she's winning. She's freaking winning. These idiots are all taking her to the end. They were reading her completely wrong. Completely wrong. She had them all fooled. And I think a lot of people still underrate her. And they still say, well, no, Monty should have won. Okay, yeah, Monty had a really good, gameplay elements, good elements to his gameplay, but I think that Taylor played the better game. Like, she overall played the better game. She was saving herself. We're talking about survival. I was talking about that with Rachel. This is a similar but elevated. This is an elevated type of survival. She had all the odds against her from day one, for bullshit reasons, as we know. We can get into easily, but we already know. And she flipped that. So when I'm talking about playing an incredible social game, I'm looking at this because in the beginning, like I said, all the odds were stacked against her. You could argue, well, that's bad social game, Lovina. Well, no, because she flipped that around and showed these people, actually, these opinions these preconceived notions that you have about me are wrong, and I'll show you how. She broke down, as you can see. I think it was like week 2, potentially. She had that breakdown in the bathroom, and she still didn't know what was happening. She just felt it and was breaking down. I'm sorry, if that was me, I don't think I would have recovered. That is an extremely hard thing to go through. I would have broke down. I probably would have just went home. Maybe I would have self-evicted. You never know. But for her, she took it as, okay, let me improve this. Let me amp up my social game. Let me show these people who I am. And that's exactly what she did. And I think it's a joy to watch. It doesn't need to be, well, Taylor's winning all the competitions. We've seen that she is competitively, capable to win these competitions. Yeah, okay, maybe during her HOH, it was a little like going nuts. Like when I was watching the feeds during her HOH, I was like, girl, what's happening? But besides that, I do think that she was thinking strategically in the end game. She got Monty to think that the biggest threat was Turner, when it was very clear to not only us but the jury that he was not the clear threat. It was herself, and I think she knew that. So as far as where to put, sorry, I just like I'm
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
I'm like very passionate about this topic because I just think that the game that she played, and if we were talking about Canada, the game that Kevin played, are something that I want to see. Basically, the way I want the show to go now. So the way that I would rank her, that is, people are gonna get so mad at us,
Who
dude. And
cares?
I just like don't
Who
care.
gives a damn? I don't care.
I would like to put her in B.
Okay. So for me, so when I look at this list, right, I think of people who started certain archetypes, which makes them so hard to rank. I look at Drew because I think he started like a bunch of different I've been saying this a bunch of times. Hayden, Cody, a lot of people like that. I look at Ian, who started the nerd archetype. And I actually do want to give credit to Derek a little bit for like how Big Brother has been structured over the past couple of years. Taylor is a very hard winner to rank, in my opinion, because there's not a win like that. I think her strengths Because a lot of people like to put her win because the left of. I don't personally. I think what's really good with Taylor, I think her social game. First of all, there's something about her that rubbed people the wrong way, and I think it's jealousy. But with that being said, she let people go home at least by jury face to the point where they were feeling good about her, to the point where people like Jasmine, Alyssa, uh, uh, Indy, people who didn't, I mean, even at the time, Terrence, who voted her to win, these people who did not care for Taylor in the house left feeling good about her to the point where they voted her to win. I think something that a lot of people don't talk about with Taylor that was really good was that she really campaigned herself as a tool to be used in Big Brother. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm by myself. Bring me in. To the point where all the girls alliance who didn't want her in the game, they're like, let's keep her around. And the guys are like, Amir told us about the girls. Let's bring Taylor and Brittany in and we'll make the leftovers. So it's like, I think her social game is really good. First of all, I think strategically she is very well. I think her connection with Monty helped her out a lot because she got Monty tied to the point where Monty didn't want to cut her. He was kind of stuck in a hard place where he couldn't cut her. He brought the pageant girl to the end. What the hell is wrong with you? And then even like that finale speech was wild. I think if there was any chance of her not winning that finale speech, wild. So
I
I think
cried.
I think she has a level of self-awareness to the point where even if she can start reading, they're like, I'm not the most liked in the house. I'm going to kill them with kindness to the point where when we're sending them out the house, they'll like me and they'll vote me to the end. And I think that's really well. So I'm going to give her some pretty good strategic points. I think her social game, specifically with her jury speech, is pretty good. Like I said, there is something that the jealousy factor is just a thing that people did not care for her. So I can't give her a perfect strategy, social points or anything, but I think her strategic game is really well. Obviously, she's more than capable of winning comps. I think she sold the point that she was a tool to be used too well to the point where they kept putting her on the block to be used as like, hey, you're not going to go home. They try to put her in a Johnny Mac spot. We're like, hey, you're not going to go home. Let's put you on the block. So in my opinion, if anyone puts her in F, I don't blame you. If anyone puts her in S, I don't blame you. She fits everywhere on this thing, in my opinion. I personally, looking at Taylor's game, is so unique and different. I do want to put her either top of B or bottom of A. I think her game is very different. It's like I don't have anyone to compare her game with. But I think that she kind of fits the mold where if you put Taylor in most seasons, she does very well. I think the whole Taylor's karma thing was wild to the point where anyone who wanted Taylor out, everyone got so greedy with power because she kept telling people that she is a tool to be used to the point where they're like, why would I take Taylor out when she's going to vote with me? Let's take this other person out instead. And that was crazy. So I think that she really has a good strategy within Big Brother, and I think it works very effectively. I wouldn't be shocked if someone attempted to replicate this in the future. So I'm going to put her. Would you either put her? So would you, if you put her in B, where would you put her? Because I would either put her top of B or bottom of A, personally.
Top of B for sure.
Let's do it.
And the last thing I have to say is a lot of people give credit to people like Derek for never sitting on the block, and they're like, "Wow, like that's incredible gameplay." But there's a flip side to that of someone who was constantly sitting on the block, and when they weren't, they were still the talk of the house, but
Yeah.
they win.
Yeah.
We don't see that. I think we're trying to not lean on the impact portion of it, but for
Yeah.
this again particular season, there's nothing like this. Let me go back to what I said about early seasons. Everybody is creating and inventing new ways to play the game. People like June, this is Taylor. Like, that's Taylor invented a new way to survive, and I
Yeah.
think that should be replicated. I mean, hopefully, could be replicated in the future, because a lot of people who are constantly sitting on the block, it's like, well, damn, here I am, like Rockstar, Blockstar. Okay, she didn't win. What did she do? She just, I love Rockstar. Okay, I'm not trying to like use her as a scapegoat, but like she was just kind of like, well, I'm the block star this year. And like, me
Yeah.
again, really? Like, okay, I'm not going to do anything to make my position better in this house. That's the complete opposite of what Taylor did. And I think that we should give her full respect for that. There wasn't some kind of conspiracy of like, well, CBS wants her to win. They want a cool story. that's been debunked multiple times, and that's not accurate. It's just really to not give her the credit for the win she very much deserved. And you can see that she deserved it even before this, but with that jury speech. My dad is like near 70, and he was like, dude, this girl is the best like competitive person I've seen like on a show.
Yeah.
So
It's dope. And you know, the way I feel about her archetype winning, it's like it's so much to be explored, because the way I feel about her win is kind of like how I feel about Ian's one. I'm like, Ian won? Like, I'm like, what the hell is, like, how do you compare Ian to these other people? Because like that nerd archetype was so different. Like I never saw that before. You know, I think Taylor is in the early developments of being like starring a new archetype, because I'm like, Taylor, how the hell did that happen? You know, so like this is someone who should have been booted out first week and then got themselves to win. So it's very different. So it's a survival win, and I'm curious to see if the survival strategy be used in Big Brother. But that's it. That's the ranking. We're 2 hours deep. This was a very fun one. And I'm very curious to look back at this list at a later date. I will be posting it on Twitter for everyone to rip to shreds and tell me that I'm dumb and I don't know anything about Big Brother, but that's why I podcast, you know. I don't give a damn.
It's subjective. My favorite winner is Rachel. Calm down.
We are unapologetic over here. If anyone wants to know why we ranked it, watch the podcast or get off of my feed. But there you have it. Lovina, thank you so much. Listen, if you guys haven't, me and Lovina ranked every Big Brother player who's made jury phase. It was so fun. I'm sure we're going to do another ranking of like best players and everything. We're going to do so many in the future, but this was a great podcast. Lovina, thank you so much. If anyone wants to see more of you or and follow you, where can people find you?
Right here. Oh wait, right here. On Twitter. I tweet about basically Big Brother, sports, just whatever's in my brain. Follow me there. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And like usual, if you want to find me, 8 Ball Bangers on all socials. Big Brother 15. If you don't follow me on Twitter, the Big Brother 15 podcast is getting delayed. I'm gonna give you guys a drop. I might be getting Howard for an interview, so we're gonna delay that a little bit. But we will be back on Monday to review Big Brother 14. I have 2 very, very special guests, so it's gonna be very fun. You do not want to miss that one if you want some prime Big Brother content. But until Monday, have a good one. Bye.